Win all in, play my cards right. Up the ante, one blackjack all night. Roll the dice, let it ride. Water the odds, I got snake eyes.
Entrepreneur Perspectives is produced by Quiet Loud Studios, a production company and content network. Learn more at quietloudstudios.com.
We were talking about that we had, something in common. My dad was in the military for 20 years, also a Cobra pilot in Vietnam. And so I wanted to hear about your experience in the military.
Yeah, so I was a pretty smart, I'm going to go back to like high school just to give you kind of the framework of why I joined in the first place. So did really well in high school. I was a high performing student and all that stuff, got into a good college. Went to college and realized that there wasn't a mom and dad there telling me I had to go to class. So I started not going to class and kind of partied my way out of college pretty quickly and realized I needed to do something with my life. So I went to the recruiter, took the test and everything, and kind of looked at my options. And he said, you can do what you want in the military. So showed me a couple recruiting videos, showed me the Special Forces one. And man, it was like, guys jumping out of airplanes, camoed up, coming out of swamps with their rifles. And I was like, yeah, that's pretty cool. I want to do that. So signed the dotted line for what's called an 18 X-ray contract. Basically gives you the right to go try out to be a Special Forces guy. And yeah, that's what I did. So the first 2 years were basically training, getting, drugged through the mud and really character building. And then after that, I got to go to Okinawa, Japan, and serve as a Green Beret for a couple years. So got to travel all around Asia. And then my wife and I got married right after I graduated the Special Forces Q course is what they call it, the training.
Okay.
And we had our first son, and I kind of came to the realization that I was gone all the time in that job. And if I wanted to be somewhat of a present dad, I was going to have to look at career pivoting potentially. Fortunately for me, I already had like the aviation bug is what we call it. I already had aviation on the horizon, already kind of had an interest in that and explored that as an option before I even joined. So that was kind of a natural progression. Dropped my flight school packet, went to flight school, learned how to fly Blackhawks. And then, I became a Blackhawk pilot for the last 7 years of my career. And then eventually went to the 160th Special Operations Aviation Regiment. So got to fly for the big boys over there too.
Oh, that's awesome. Yeah. I have a respect for military. Of course, like I said, I grew up in a military family. And so anybody in the services are near and dear to my heart. So I really appreciate your service and love to hear about that. That's awesome. So you were in for 13 years. I guess the decision to get out was related to your family. Is that what you're saying, or?
No, so I actually got medically retired. This is another long story, but to make it short, man, I had some mental health stuff happen to me that was pretty debilitating, and it got to the point where basically they were like, "Hey, you can get out if you want to." And since it had taken such a toll, I was like, "Yeah, let's go live my life another way."
There you go. That's awesome. So where did you grow up?
Washington State, Seattle area, like 30 minutes north of Seattle.
Okay.
Yep.
So you got out of the military, and what was your plan? Did you have a plan as far as what you wanted to try to do?
I did. And I was pretty fortunate that I was already like a closet finance nerd. Like I just loved personal finance. I don't know what it was about it. Picked up Dave Ramsey's books when I was like 20, 21. And I just, from then on, just consumed that content and really dove into it and liked it. So before I transitioned out of the military, I had like a good year and a half timeline to get out, kind of like, looking to the horizon saying, okay, this is a possibility. I might get out. So I started stacking all my financial education courses and got my certified financial planner designation, all that stuff knocked out basically by the time I was out of the military. So I was able to hit the ground running.
Okay. So what were the challenges when you first started? I know when you first get into this business, it can be difficult, and you're paying a lot of what I call paying a lot of dues for sure.
For sure. The biggest challenge for me was the mindset shift of being a quiet professional in the military where you have no social media presence, you've never had to sell anything in your life, except for maybe like pitching a mission or something like that, right? But but that's something that everybody's expecting you to sell,
Yep.
And then I had to go in this world where I had to find clients, it's sink or swim. It's really, I started with zero income, so I wasn't in a salary job. And I had to go figure out a way to talk to people in a way that I didn't feel was salesy,
Right.
because I just had a core belief that I didn't want to push people towards something they didn't need. But that was really tough to navigate that mindset shift of, okay, like, I don't like calling myself a salesman, but I kind of am in a way. I
Right.
have to be to get business. So that was the biggest challenge for me, for sure.
Yeah, I had the same experience. And of course, I'm older than you, I think, but I had the same experience. I had 2 kids at the time when I went in sales. And like you said, you're sort of the only thing you eat is what you kill that day
Yeah.
when you first start. And, I just kept staying out there and having that discipline. But I'm with you. I tell people I don't like the connotation of sales. Sort of means I'm trying to get you to do something that maybe you don't want to do. So I'm selling it
Right.
to you. I'm really into listening to you and having you say, this is where I want to go, or this is what I'm trying to do, or this is what I'm concerned about, and then being able to provide those solutions. So that feels a whole lot better. One of my favorite movies is Groundhog Day, where the guy walks up every day and says, hey, you look like you need to buy some insurance, and I always say, who wants to do that, right? So nobody wants to buy,
Yep.
but if I can show you why that helps you or help you get where you want to go. Talk a little bit about your practice now and what your focus is.
Yeah. So we're called Cadence Wealth Partners. We're a comprehensive financial planning firm. Really, we take a kind of a different approach than the standard in the industry. We start with, and I took this from the military, honestly. We start with the end state in mind, right? What is the purpose of money? What is it going to get you to accomplish at the end of the day when you eventually retire? And what does that life look like when you retire, right? Because a lot of people approach retirement as just a number, just like an age, and they don't really know when that work stops, when they're going to retire, what they're going to actually do, and what
Okay.
their wife wants to do and all that stuff. So that's our approach. We start with that. And then we basically backwards plan from that. We first identify all the risks they might encounter along the way, and then build a plan that makes sense for them. And it's always ebbing and flowing, depending on their lifestyle. So yeah, that's kind of it in a nutshell. It's financial planning, getting someone from point A to where they want to be at point B and beyond.
How often are you reviewing those plans with your customers?
Good question. So we do semi-annual reviews. So we align it in the spring and the fall. So we try to align it with tax season. So right before taxes get filed in the spring, and then before the end of the year for
Okay.
kind of closing out the year.
Yeah, it's funny. You look at the market every day, and it's just up and down and up and down. And usually it's over something Trump did or didn't do on that day.
yeah.
Or I think the oil prices are really kind of driving some changes in the market. How do you overcome those challenges?
Yeah, that's a really good question. And we saw this about a month ago when the market took a, whatever it was, almost 10% dip. I had people coming to me, talking about, should we get out? Should we get out? Was it time to go to cash? Are we going to, is this all going to burn? And that's a really normal fear to have, especially with today's news cycles, right? Because things happen so quickly and it's literally a day-to-day thing if you're up on the news and everything. So we take a very, very long-term passive investing approach. So we don't do anything sexy, if you will. We take a long-term approach where we say, okay, like I said, we're backwards planning, right? If someone's going to retire in 15 years, do you have 15 years based on the historical trends of the market to withstand a market decline?
Right.
And how can we structure your portfolio so that it fits that 15-year risk bucket? So that's kind of how we take it. And then it's our job just to remind clients of that when we have those, those big dips or those big ebb and flows of, hey, like, I get it. It doesn't feel good to look at your portfolio right now, but remember like what the plan is and remember why we invested the way we did.
Right. Stay the course, I guess, is what the message. Yeah, that's interesting. So tell me about your family. I'm really interested to hear about your family.
Yeah, I got a beautiful wife who has been by my side for 13 years now. She's a personal trainer. So she has a kind of a part-time job doing personal training and then a full-time job as a mom. So
That's good.
yeah, got a 12-year-old boy and a 10-year-old daughter. So looking at 7th grade next year and 5th grade.
Are they into sports?
They are, yeah. My son plays baseball. My daughter plays lacrosse. Those are the two primaries right now that we're just wrapping up.
Yeah, my son, he had an interesting experience. His mother didn't like football, although I'm 6'4" and about 250, and he's about the same size. And he always wanted to play football, but his mother didn't like it, scared he'd get hurt. And I was always telling her, you need to be scared of him hurting somebody.
Yeah.
So he played basketball, and he was on some really good basketball teams. And then right at the end of his college career or high school career, he's changed schools so he could play football. And he ended up playing 1 year football and then playing in college, which was really interesting.
Wow.
So I know how enjoyable those times are with the kids, and it goes by really, really quick.
Yeah.
Those weekends of running around to sports are a lot of fun.
I love it. I coach baseball too for my son. So it's really fun. It's a blast. And I'm really trying to be intentional with that, right? Because it's so easy to get caught up in business and, having this success mindset, which is good on one hand, but there's the other side of it where I could find myself, working till 7, 8 p.m. every night and barely seeing them, which I've done a few times, but I catch myself and really try to be intentional with that.
Yeah, I even switched jobs one time. I was with a really big company, and we had a sales meeting during basketball season. We were at Gillies in Dallas, and I called my wife and said, how'd the basketball game go tonight? And she said, well, Adam scored 22 points, and I missed it. And I said, I am not going to let that happen again. I'm just not going to miss the games. And so, yeah, it just seems like I spent my whole 8 or 9 years, I was in a gym every Saturday or, watching basketball. So I appreciate, and I saw something on your bio about undefeated dad. Is there a story behind that?
No, it's just a joke I like to say.
Okay. I like it.
Because I'm the dad of the year to my kids, so.
That's awesome. Yeah.
Nobody's beat me at that yet.
I didn't know if that was an official designation that you'd been awarded, or
I wish. No.
Yeah.
No, I wish. I'm still a work in progress, but doing my best.
You learn as you go, that's for sure.
Yeah.
In a lot of ways, my kids are a lot older than yours. My daughter's 34. My youngest is 26. But in a way, you kind of feel like you're a better dad now than you were maybe even when they were growing up.
Yeah, I'm sure. I mean, I'm even seeing that now as my kids get older, just learning patience and all those things.
That's it. Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah. My dad is so funny. My dad, of course, when I was growing up, he was in the military, and he was a great dad, but he was hard charging guy, and he started off in field artillery, and then he switched to the aviation. And then my kids, though, his grandkids thought he was the biggest softy in the world. And I said, you guys are lucky because, when we were kids, all he had to do was just look at you with those aviator sunglasses on, and you settled down right quick. So,
yeah. I mean, to be honest, I caught myself at one point, when I was in the service and I was around all these just studs, and elite performers every single day, I would catch myself or be guilty of coming home and expecting that from my 6, 7-year-old kids. And I'm looking back on it, I'm like, man, what was I thinking? How could I expect them to be top? You know what I mean?
Yep, I do. Yeah, I definitely do. Yeah, that's great. Well, it's good to hear. Anything else you'd like to share with us? I'd love to hear more about, thoughts that you have or kind of your philosophy of business. We heard a little bit of that, but I'd love to hear more if you have a thought about that.
Yeah, I think I'm still growing as an entrepreneur. So I've been doing this 3 years as an advisor. And the more I do it, the more I learn that the greater, and this is going to sound super obvious probably, but the greater the value that you have and can give people, your clients, right? The greater chances they're going to refer you. Now, most of my new business comes from referrals. And I couldn't imagine that happening 2, 3 years ago, And even at year 3, that seems crazy to me to even think that. But I'm constantly getting clients, recommending their friends come use me and stuff. And that is probably one of the biggest things that I take pride in. And I've learned the realization, okay, if you serve your clients well, more will come, right? And they're going to bring their friends and they're going to tell people about you.
Yep. I believe in that too, because I'm in the insurance business, but our marketing has always been, you want to make relationships with other agents. You're trying to help get them to broker with you. One of the things I'm most proud of is I started in this a lot longer ago than you. So I've been in sales for 30 years. And one of the ladies that I met the first week that I was out doing as green as I could absolutely be, I still work with her. In fact, I talked to her yesterday, 30 years later.
Nice.
And so just maintaining those relationships has always been very important to me. Is just if you could keep that relationship, that shows that you really have something to offer to your customer.
Yeah, and it shows that you care too, and it's not just a transactional thing, you know?
Yep.
Because, I mean, my clients succeed, I succeed. That's kind of how I view it, and it's been working out that way. So, yeah,
Well,
for sure.
That's awesome. So how many people are in your practice?
Just 2. So it's me and
Okay.
another advisor, and then 3 technically, and then we have a director of client service.
Okay. And then are you planning to expand, or are you kind of happy with where things are right now?
We are, yeah. We're planning on bringing on a paraplanner pretty soon, and then potentially a third advisor, another partner advisor,
That's great.
just to expand our capacity.
Well, thanks for your time. I hope you enjoyed doing this. I was really looking forward to talking to you. When I saw the information about the military, I said, I think we got something in common. So
Yeah. No, I appreciate you guys inviting me. I'm honored. Thank you.
Thanks for listening to Entrepreneur Perspectives. This show is produced by Quiet Loud Studios, where we create podcast writing and original media. Learn more at quietloudstudios.com.